The sun was dipping low over the glassy surface of Lake Evergreen when the shot rang out, shattering the serene silence of my secluded cabin. My best friend, Alex Kim, clutched his shoulder as blood bloomed through his shirt, his eyes wide with shock. Standing there, pistol still smoking in her hand, was my nightmare of a neighbor, Karen Whitaker, the HOA president, who'd been gunning for us from day one. As a retired FBI agent, I'd seen my share of evil, but nothing prepared me for this twisted showdown on federal land. This is the story of how one woman's greed and prejudice nearly destroyed lives, and how justice finally caught up. Stick with me. It's a wild ride that might make you question everything about those friendly neighborhood associations. It all started when I inherited my uncle's $5 million cabin nestled on protected federal property. After 20 years in the Bureau, busting cartels and unraveling conspiracies, I craved peace. No more stakeouts or shootouts, just fishing, hiking, and forgetting the nightmares that kept me up at night. The place was a gem: rustic logs, panoramic views, and zero HOA jurisdiction since it was on Uncle Sam's turf. Or so I thought. Enter Karen Whitaker. She rolled up unannounced one crisp autumn afternoon in her gleaming black Mercedes, clutching a thick folder labeled Violations. I was out on the porch sipping coffee when she marched up, her designer heels clicking like accusations. "Mike Reynolds," she barked, sizing me up like I was trash. "I'm Karen, president of the Lakeside Estates HOA. We've got standards here, and frankly, you don't fit the demographic." Her smile was all teeth, no warmth. She flipped open the folder, rattling off nonsense about my cabin's unsightly landscaping and how it violated some obscure rule. "You might want to sell before things get complicated," she suggested, her voice dripping with fake concern. I knew intimidation when I saw it. Back in the FBI, I'd interrogated enough bullies to spot the playbook. But something about her set off alarm bells deeper than theta gut feeling of real danger. I politely declined. Mentioning the land's federal status exempted me from her petty empire. She left with a huff, but her eyes lingered on my property like it was already hers. That weekend, Alex arrived for a visit. We'd served together indirectly, was a decorated Marine, fresh from tours in Afghanistan, with Japanese roots from his grandparents' immigration story. Tough as nails, but the guy had a heart of gold. We planned to grill steaks, crack beers, and swap war stories. But Karen showed up again, this time eyeing Alex like prey. "Who's this?" she demanded, her tone laced with suspicion. She grilled him about his background, slipping in comments like, "We don't get many of your kind around here. You military? Hope you're not bringing any issues." The racial undertones were blatant, making my blood boil. Alex brushed it off with a laugh, but I saw the predator in her gaze. From there, the harassment escalated into a full-blown campaign. I dug into Karen's background that night, using old contacts and public records. She'd been HOA president for 5 years, a reign of terror where she'd forced out neighbors through relentless complaints, driving them to sell below market value. She'd pocketed millions flipping those properties. Her success stories were horror tales. The Smith family hounded over fabricated security breaches until they fled in fear. The Davis clan buried in bogus maintenance fines that bankrupted them. The Taylor household targeted because of problematic guests, just like Alex. She started with us subtly. First, a false police report claiming suspicious activity, and my cabin cops showed up, found nothing, but it planted seeds of doubt. Then, a staged burglary, my shed ransacked, with Alex's coffee cup conveniently left as evidence. I confronted her at her mansion down the road. "This stops now," I growled, shoving her own tactics back at her. She smirked, whispering, "People like your friend are dangerous. If something happens, it'll be self-defense. You know how these things go, veterans with PTSD, unpredictable." The threat was clear. She was framing Alex as a menace, building a narrative to justify violence. I wasn't about to let her win. Drawing on my FBI training, I turned the tables. Hidden cameras around the property, motion sensors, even a drone for aerial surveillance. I documented everything. Her lurking in the shadows, snapping photos of Alex fishing, tailing him on walks. Deeper digging revealed her extortion racket acquired 8 properties, netting $3 million in profits through harassment, fake complaints, and bribes to local cops, code enforcers, and city council members. It was a corrupt web, preying on the vulnerable. When I showed up at her door with my own evidence folder, her facade cracked. "You think you're smart, ex-Fed?" she hissed. "Harm comes to those who don't play ball. Your buddy? He won't see it coming." The tension built like a storm. I beefed up security extra cams, audio recorders, even looped in old FBI buddies on standby. Alex wanted to bail, but I convinced him to stay. We needed to catch her in the act. Sunday morning dawned foggy and ominous. We were packing up when Karen stormed the path, .38 caliber pistol glinting in her grip. "Trespasser!" she screamed at Alex, who was just loading his truck. "You're aggressive, back off." Alex raised his hands, confused, but she fired anyway, the bullet tearing into his shoulder. He dropped, groaning, as chaos erupted. I had it all on tape: her premeditated approach, the false accusations, the shot without provocation. As Alex bled out, Karen didn't rush to help. Instead, she paced, muttering her story. He lunged at me, threatened me. I feared for my life. Only then did she call 911, spinning lies. Intruder, violent ex-military type Asian guy, probably unstable from the wars. The racial slant was deliberate, stoking fears to paint Alex as the villain. But she forgot one crucial detail: federal land. I dialed my FBI contacts immediately. Shooting on protected property, suspect armed and fabricating evidence. Within minutes, the cavalry arrived: FBI, ATF, U.S. Marshals swarming like avenging angels. Helicopters thundered overhead as Alex was airlifted to the hospital, his wounds serious but not fatal. They reviewed my footage on site. Clear premeditation, her rehearsed lies. Karen was cuffed, sputtering denials, charged with assault, civil rights violations for the discriminatory harassment, extortion, and lying to federal agents. The media exploded. Headlines screamed, "HOA tyrant shoots decorated veteran on federal land, racist motives exposed." It trended nationwide, sparking furious debates. Was this just one bad apple, or a symptom of HOA overreach abusing power against minorities and outsiders? Protests erupted outside her seized mansion, with victims sharing stories of her reign. Social media divided. Some defended HOAs as necessary for community standards. Others called for their abolition, labeling them modern-day feudal lords. Karen's empire crumbled overnight, assets frozen under forfeiture laws, her luxury cars towed, bank accounts drained. From millionaire to broke, she was reduced to a public defender. The investigation ballooned. More victims surfaced, families she'd ruined with planted evidence, bogus liens, even whispered threats of violence. Her bribes to officials led to arrests, cops fired, council members indicted. At trial, the evidence was damning. My videos, financial trails, tearful testimonies. Karen rejected a plea, arrogant to the end, but the jury wasn't buying her self-defense sob story. The judge slammed her. "You abused trust, preyed on the weak, and nearly murdered an innocent man out of greed and bigotry. This is unforgivable. Life without parole, plus 30 years. Gasps filled the courtroom. Online, cheers mixed with cries of "too harsh" or "not enough." In prison, Karen's life became a hell of her own, making maximum security, solitary for her safety, scrubbing floors in orange jumpsuits. She became a cautionary tale, whispered in HOA meetings. Don't mess with the wrong people. The neighborhood healed. Property values skyrocketed 40% under new, positive leadership. Block parties, community gardens, no more fear. Alex recovered stronger, turning pain into purpose. He advocated against HOA abuse, penning a bestseller that exposed the dark underbelly, raising $200,000 for victims. He retired to full-time activism, a hero reborn. Me? I found new fire, consulting for the FBI on suburban corruption schemes. I even bought back some of Karen's seized properties, returning them to original owners at cost. Justice wasn't just served, it roared. Looking back, this nightmare teaches hard lessons. Never underestimate prejudice wrapped in power, and don't target a Fed or a vetway bite back. What do you think? Could this happen in your backyard? Share your thoughts. Stories like this remind us vigilance is key.